And welcome everyone to the Three-Wall Ball Vegas Pro Recap. My name's Tim Baghurst, representing the LPRT, and joining me representing the IRT, Dean Baer. We wanted to have a conversation about what's been going on this week because we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we definitely do, Tim. First of all, I mean, it's a pleasure for us to do something together.
Absolutely.
I think it's really good for the fans across racquetball. So we're here to just talk about these matches that were, absolutely fantastic week. We're getting ready for a finals day tomorrow. Let's start with the men's draw. Sound good?
Absolutely. And tomorrow we've got De La Rosa Beltran against Croft and Wazelenchuk. Don't normally hear that in outdoor, but we hear it a lot in indoor.
No, it's literally, a U.S. Open finals.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people were talking about, Kane and Ben should maybe lose early against some of the outdoor players. But let's be honest, we're playing racquetball, and those are the two best doubles teams to play racquetball. And clearly it shows whether they're indoor or outdoor. I don't know if it matters.
Right, and they didn't have a great seed, obviously, because of the lack of outdoor experience. And in fact, I think they were, what is it, 18th?
They came in seeded 18th, which that's kind of crazy. So they played a couple of Northeastern guys, Richie Miller and Joe Kelly, and I mean that was just kind of dispatched.
Right, and the interesting match then became the Sostri and Horn match, the two seeds, and we were like, okay, let's find out how good Kane and Croft are against some outdoor players.
And what happened in game one? You had the match over here on court one. They lost 15-1, 15-2,
right.
Game one, and the crowd was going crazy.
Right.
I mean, heckling the indoor players or yelling at Ben saying, hey, it's outdoor swing.
Right.
I mean, I heard a lot of stuff. And then what happened? It appears from watching the replay, it appears that Kane kind of zeroed into his game, and it doesn't matter where he is.
Exactly.
Drive serve. Do you think Robert Sostri ever saw serves come at him like that
they were
outdoor?
Blistering. It changed when he switched to that drive serve. It completely changed the complexity of the game, and we saw that Sostri and Horn, I think they were up 9-4 in that second game, and then what was the score line? 15-9, 11-4.
Is that insane or what?
Yeah.
Kane, he appeared. There's something happened in the match, and I don't know exactly what it was. But and some people could say, oh, he flipped on a switch. I don't know if I agree with that.
I think he figured it out.
I think he figured it out, and I think he just dialed in, and he actually got serious. If you saw in the beginning, there was a lot of joking. Yeah, and and that's not his game. When is he dominant? When he's laser focused. And look what happened. They dispatched the number 2 seed. First of all, the fact that they had to play them in the second round, that's kind of tough as well.
Well, but as fans, it was like, wow, this is a great matchup early on.
Correct. And I actually went over to him afterwards, and he said, so can I play this game or what?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think you showed that. So.
Yeah. And today they went into the semifinal, and the same thing. I watched it over on court 2. Blistering serves, just unreturnable.
Alex Barcelo, and I watched, interesting enough, him and Brandon Davis, I watched them play Mercado and Vargas, the other Bolivian, who happens to be in the open singles finals.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. But what they were doing to those two players, I was like, wow, Mario's really a good player.
Yeah. And
he's adapting well to outdoor. But these two players just really kind of lasered in. They played that outdoor game. The ball was flying out the door. And I'm like, this is going to be, they're going to give Kane and Ben some problems tomorrow. And that didn't happen.
No. It was 8-7 they won to advance to the final. Now, one person you haven't really mentioned, it takes two to tango, so to speak, Ben Croft. We haven't really talked about him.
Let me tell you, he showed his value today. He played absolutely amazing. And I know that everyone's eyes is always on Kane, and I think that helps Ben Croft because people are not looking at him. But he was taking balls out of the midair, reverse pinch rollouts, covering. There was a play even that he missed the ball. Kane was there. I was like, oh my God. And they switched. They have exactly what the other best team, De La Rosa and Beltran, they have communication. They have a friendship. That goes a long way in doubles. I mean, you've seen a lot of high-level doubles, not only on LPRT, but you watch the IRT.
Of course, yeah.
The IRF, you watch a lot of matches. You know, you were there for a lot of high-intense doubles matches. And what's the common denominator? A really good relationship, not only on the court.
And experience playing together, communication, and we've seen some of that just in general in outdoors where and we'll talk about mixed pro, where players may not have played very much together, and you could definitely see it between some of these teams. Wazelenchuk, Croft, De La Rosa, Beltran, they've played with each other many years, and you can see it. Now let's just switch to Beltran and De La Rosa, the 1 seeds, right, defending champions. Their transition into the final a little bit less scrutiny, so to speak.
You know, I thought that at first, but then I forgot that they had to come up in their first round against Landa and Manchuk.
Right.
And though those guys are indoor specialists, 2 high elite athletes, you know, I mean, Sudsy can clearly put the ball wherever he wants when he's serving, and he was serving well on the crack. Landa holds his own as the number 2 player in the world. I was absolutely surprised that didn't go a breaker. What did you think?
I can't tell you exactly because guess who was playing
you
at that
playing
time? I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, this is on my court. I want to watch it. I want to commentate, and I have to go play. But I talked to Sudsy afterwards, and he just talked about, you know, game 2 we just fell apart, and I just made a lot of hitting the ball out. And I think one of the challenges for the indoor players is that 1 serve rule. And making sure that serve is in, and then making sure you don't go too wide. We're so used to hitting wide angles to get the ball to the back of the court.
Or jam or something.
You can't do that here.
No, that serve would be an amazing indoor serve, and here it's terrible, side out, half out, whatever it may be. But I think as a whole, I think the players adjusted very well.
So they advanced in the quarterfinals comfortably, 2 and 3, and then in the semifinals, we've got Ko and Cole, 2 outdoor specialists.
Yeah, and they dispatched them. I had that match today. I mean, that was a lot quicker than I thought. It almost was literally like having a cup of coffee.
Okay, but I think it requires us to discuss. I didn't expect Ko and Cole to be there.
Yeah, I think everyone expected, Jake Bredenbeck and Brian Pineda to take them out, and they are the 4 seed. You know, the 3 seed went down also on the other end of the draw. So the 4 seed, very well could have went down to the 21 seed, and however, that was a win by no-show.
Yeah. So obviously we were disappointed. We were supposed to show it first thing. We were ready, and of course that didn't happen. So maybe an easier semifinal than De La Rosa and Beltran would have expected had Bredenbeck and Pineda played. We don't know. I mean, it's speculation, but here De La Rosa and Beltran are in the final. We've got a matchup of the last couple of U.S. Opens, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, but, I watched the De La Rosa Beltran match this afternoon, and De La Rosa is clearly the best player on the court.
No question.
And I actually might even go out on a limb and say tomorrow in the finals, he may be the best player on this court.
We'll see. I think, when they have to play Kane, I think it's part mental too. And I think De La Rosa and Beltran I think they'll be motivated to show, you know what, we can play outdoor. We are the outdoor specialists. I mean, don't get me wrong, they obviously class indoors as well, but we have the experience in outdoor. Let us show you how it's supposed to be played. But we go back to Wazelenchuk, who's just such a competitor. Croft, such a competitor. I can't call this one. I don't think you can either.
Well, what's going to be different is in indoor, Kane's going to have his forehand. Ben's going to have his forehand. So Kane is on the same side as De La Rosa. And on here, he's going to be on the side with Beltran. So De La Rosa handles Kane's power a little better. So that's what I'm going to be interested in seeing, obviously, where the serve is. But I think the key to the match is not only De La Rosa's skill, but I think it's going to be the play of Alvaro Beltran. Some days he is just absolutely fantastic, but I can guarantee the fans one thing: it is going to be a match.
It's going to be epic, and we'll all be here, and you should be too. 10 a.m. Pacific Central Time tomorrow. Make sure you watch. All right, let's switch over to women's doubles. A little bit smaller draw, but still some things to talk about. One of the key people here this year, who's not normally here, not since 2016, I believe, Paula Longoria. She obviously has to be discussed just like Kane. Dominated indoor. Can you do it outdoor? Guess what? Here she is in a final.
You know, absolutely. And you know what's really good, and you see a player like, you know, Janelle playing with Paola. Paola clearly is the best women's player in the world. And again, we can have that same conversation. Indoor, outdoor, it doesn't matter. There's a front wall, there's a racket, and there's a ball. And she's the best at it. I only saw some of that one match, so I don't know if she was carrying Janelle, if Janelle was making a lot of the, you know, the really good shots, but was Janelle controlling a lot of that match?
Yeah, and you could see that actually Tysinger-Ledkins was almost, in some ways, just, you know, controlling the middle like she knows, hitting a great serve, getting the setup, putting it away. And Janelle was on our stream this afternoon talking about the way she plays and how outdoor is different. And she really talked about, you know, you can't let these rallies go on. Hit that serve, get your opponent out of position, put the ball down, and she did it really well today. And we should mention as well, Tysinger-Ledkins, 7 months pregnant in a final. It's
That's
amazing.
Insane. That's absolutely insane. First of all, we can't imagine what it's like being pregnant, but I know that if we were, we wouldn't be on the racquetball court. No. So hats off to Janelle.
Yeah, she just said, you know, as some may know, that she wasn't able to go to the Pan Am Games due to an adverse drug test, and so she was suspended and couldn't go. And she even said, you know, it really hurt her, as you can imagine. She trained for this. She wanted to go to the Pan Ams, and then it was taken away from her. She couldn't play racquetball, and she said, I just wanted to get out here and play. I don't care. I just want to play racquetball. And now here she is in a final with Longoria. And how did those two match up? Longoria said, I'm coming. Who should I play with? She called TJ and said, hey, TJ Bamba, who should I play with? And TJ said, well, Janelle Tysinger-Ledkins is one of the best outdoor racquetball players to ever play the game. She's available. All right, let's play with her. Here they are in the final, but taking on the 1 seeds, Michelle De La Rosa, Carla Munoz, defending champions. And we talk about outdoor racquetball, and it's Michelle De La Rosa that needs mentioning.
Michelle De La Rosa, I like to still call her Michelle Key because, you know, I won't change her name in my phone just because of that. But her and Carla, played amazing. They took on a very tough Jessica Perea and Adriana Riveros. That was an absolutely great match as well.
12-6. It was.
Yeah, I mean, a bounce here or there, a serve here or there. What I've saw from Adriana this weekend has been amazing, and we're going to get to her, obviously,
yes, we will.
Next. But we also have to mention that, you know, Longoria and Janelle, they took out the number 2 seed.
Well, they took out the number 2 seed, and there's a but.
There's a but.
And the but is the number 2 seeds were supposed to be Ronda Rasic, Samantha Salas. And I don't know what happened, but essentially Samantha Salas wasn't coming. She had shoulder surgery. She was out. Somehow her name was in the draw. Somehow Ronda was attached to that. And then Ronda got here, you know, I guess discovered that Samantha wasn't coming, and I still want to play. Who can I play with? And of course, Erica Williams was able to step in and did admirably. I mean, not a pro player, but came in and got their first win, and you know, was willing to give it a go against Longoria and Tysinger, but obviously not good enough in this situation.
Well, again, in the first round, they took out Jessica Chen and Katie Niels. Let's talk a little bit about Katie.
Yeah, let's go to mixed while we're at it.
We're going to go up to her. Well, what's our prediction here for tomorrow for the women's final? Because the men's final, are we saying is a toss-up?
Yes, no question.
Coin toss.
In my opinion, just watching these ladies this week, I have to say that Munoz De La Rosa probably have the edge here.
I do, but I agree with you. But can you count out the number 1 player in the world on the racquetball court?
Of course not. That's why we're going to watch. I'm just saying that, you know, Munoz and De La Rosa have been on this court a lot. They've played well together. This is a new partnership for Longoria, Tysinger-Ledkins. We mentioned that, you know, Tysinger is not able to cover as much court, and so it's on Longoria. one of the examples is Longoria is not willing to hit an overhead Z-serve because she's never practiced it. And so as a consequence, she hits a normal indoor Z-serve, and that's a lot more comfortable when you're returning that as opposed to shoulder high. So it's those little things that I think that may be an advantage for De La Rosa Munoz, who are more comfortable doing that.
Absolutely. I agree with you. That's a very, very valid point. So that's something that we need to watch for tomorrow is the serve of
what serve does she hit?
Is Paola Longoria, you know, did she come a little extra on the back courts and practice a little something? Nobody knows that.
Right.
You know the way the work ethic that Paola puts in.
We do.
You know, and again, you can say Kane, you can say Paola, they're the best because they put in the work. I think me and you talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Very professional.
Yeah, they're professional. They work hard. They train. They drill. You know, does everyone do that? We're going to see tomorrow.
We already know the answer to that, Dean.
Absolutely.
We should just mention that's at 12 o'clock PST. So we'll start with the men's doubles. We'll move over to the women's doubles. Mixed, I love mixed. It creates so many interesting storylines, discussions, who's playing with who, how will that work. And we definitely had some interesting matches. Of course, we see the one seeds, the De La Rosas. They get to the final again, the defending champions. I don't think any of us are surprised.
No, I mean, they're just and I was extremely surprised at the control that Michelle had on the court with Daniel. I mean, she was moving him around. She was not only bossing him around at home.
She's the captain.
She's
There's no question. And we were chatting earlier. I mean, I've played those two in mixed doubles before. We won't mention the score.
I did too.
We got some points.
We didn't get that many.
but Michelle was the one controlling the match, and it was very evident in that court, and you see it on the court as well. You know, they have a laugh, they have a smile, but they're very, very competitive. The top half of the draw, though, their semifinalists, I think, are worthy of mention. Riffles and Niels.
Yeah, they not only in the first round took out Alvaro Beltran and Paolo Longoria.
I know.
Like, when I saw that matchup, I'm like, okay, they're going to move on and, you know, probably play Racich and Cole, who didn't move on. But no, there you go. They took on, where were we again? Riffle. Okay. Landa and Lawrence.
Right.
It's next round.
So
not only dispatch Alvaro and Paola, but Alex Landa and Kalani Lawrence. And Kalani's a top flight player, you know, on tour.
And plays outdoor.
And plays outdoor.
Right. And so it was just like, wow, these two. And what I loved about these two playing is the chemistry they had. Riffle didn't try to be spectacular and try to make a point. He got the ball in the right position, took his shots when he had an opportunity. Niels covered a lot of court and, again, was willing to make some outdoor shots. And it was obvious. I believe she has some tennis background, and you could see that.
That's what I heard also, and I watched some of her serves, and she had that really high bounce up. I mean, and she was extending her racket. Her follow-through was extremely nice, and the ball was going in places where, you know, as your opponent, you don't want that ball. And so she was making them uncomfortable.
And one of the comments Janelle said when she was doing the commentary is, you know, they're going to get some calls next year when it comes time for I need a doubles partner. They've shown they can belong at this level and be very, very competitive. So, you know, kudos to those two for making the semifinals. Coming up against the De La Rosas today, a bit too much power from Daniel and Michelle. Bottom half of the draw, we got a finalists we didn't expect.
Wow. I mean, Mario Mercado and Adriana Riveros, did you expect them to move on to the finals?
Maybe not the finals. I thought they might come unstuck today. But we know they can play well together because in World Doubles a couple years ago, they got to the final and they lost to, guess who? The De La Rosas. So I knew they could play doubles together. They had good chemistry. The question was, can they convert it to an outdoor court? And I think the answer is yes, they can. And we saw some outdoor shots from them today. Yeah,
and what I saw from Mario Mercado in his men's doubles match was his athleticism really shined, and you don't see too much of that when he plays on the indoor game. But they didn't have, you know, a walk in the park either. They had to take on Ronda Racich and Soderman.
Well, before that, they had Laime and Zelada, both pros as well.
Yeah.
and won in
Well,
a
they were all friends, all four of them, so that probably was a fun match.
tiebreaker, though, 11-2, and I think finding their feet. And then, like you said, Soderman, Cole, Rasic, again, 14-15, 15-11, 11-8. That was a close match, and that's where you were like, okay, can these two compete against two outdoor legends?
Well, I didn't think so when I saw the draw. I was looking at it more as, okay, Ronda against Adriana, advantage Ronda. Soderman against Mario, advantage Soderman. And that's not what happened at all. And there was some time issues with that match, but I'm glad that they played it, and I'm glad this is the result, to be honest.
And then in the semifinals today, Sostri and Munoz, and you think, oh, another outdoor legend playing with a very experienced outdoor player, and Mercado and Rivera really, the 8 in the second game was kind of a catch-up. I think they were up like 14-2.
Yeah, and that's surprising that Robert Sostri hasn't gone far this event.
He was tired.
In the pro event. Let's talk about that. Doesn't he play like 4 events? He plays, the one-wall events. He's playing doubles. And he doesn't play singles, but he played, I think, doubles in one-wall also. So that's 3 events at least.
Yeah.
You can't be that elite. That's something that, that a coach always told me, is that if you're going to go to an event, never 3. But I think with this particular tournament, you have to.
Well, it's encouraged. I mean, when I came and I was, okay, what should I sign up for? And I was told as many events as you can. Well, I'm glad I didn't, because I'd like to walk tomorrow. But most players are playing 3 or 4 events. Now, the question is, aren't most of those players amateurs? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Well, again, if you want to be a professional and you want to be at the top of your game, you can't have too many branches. You got to be, 2 events. You have mixed doubles, you have regular doubles. I don't think that the singles event is that big of a draw here, and that's evident. So I'll ask you. I've been asking a couple people. You see these courts? They're a little bit bigger. I don't think this. I think these courts are made for doubles.
I agree completely. And so when you look at singles, and actually let's get to that. We'll just mention. Hold on one second. 2 p.m. Pacific time, the De La Rosa husband and wife duo, defending champions, taking on Mercado and Riveros. I do want to give credit real quickly to Riveros, who played extremely well today and played very clean, and as a consequence, they're in the finals. So I think that will be an interesting matchup. Probably put the De La Rosas as good favorites there.
I do.
But I think they'll have a battle with the Colombians.
Adriana really, excelled and raised her level of play this weekend. And again, like you said, a lot of people are going to be looking at her, getting more calls in the future on the outdoor stage. I'm a little surprised, but I can't.
She can shoot. She can hit a ball.
Yeah, and she's mobile.
More mobile than she used to be. She's definitely improved that area.
Correct.
Okay, so 2 p.m. So let's talk about the singles, because you mentioned it's really a doubles game, and I think that's reflected in the outdoor pro when you say, okay, where are the pros in singles? You don't see many, but in the men's open, we've got an interesting final.
We have Andre Perea on the bottom half is going to take on Marcelo Vargas from Bolivia.
And I want to know, I watched him play, but you tell me, Vargas in the final, I'm like, who is this guy?
He is like Speedy Gonzalez. He can run. He has like a motor. I watched him play with Mario Mercado in the pro doubles. But singles, we had the Andre Perea match. He took out Jose Diaz in the semis. And Jose Diaz is an exceptional player. Indoor, outdoor, same thing, I don't care. He's just an absolute competitor. And to watch what Andre did, what I don't like about the singles game is that open serve.
Yeah. Well, let's explain that.
Yeah.
So when you come into the service box and it's your serve, you get to serve anywhere. If you win that point, you then have to go to the opposite quadrant to where you serve the first time and serve in that quadrant, and then switch over and over and over. What that means is we get a lot of aces.
on that open serve.
Open serve. It's like a free point almost.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking with Pablo when we were watching that match. He's like, you kind of have to jump the serve and guess.
Yeah.
And 80% of the times it's a drive serve, so that maybe you can play statistics. I was sitting today with Charlie Brumfield, and that's one of the things he told me he used to like statistically, chart out, what people shot hit from what spot and what high percentage was for them. So same thing. So, maybe there should be, in my opinion, maybe there should be a change to that rule that the first serve is not open. It needs to go to a certain quadrant. You can pick. Maybe you can choose to it. Tennis doesn't have that. You have to serve.
Right. Squash doesn't.
Yeah.
Squash 57 doesn't.
Again,
right.
So if you guess right, okay, you're in a rally. I don't know.
Yeah, but we see a lot of we see just a lot of aces, and it's just there's a point, and as Janelle Teisinger-Ledkins was saying, you've got to take advantage when you're in the service box that first time. You'd better get a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I agree with you. It kind
and
of
then
like
you're chasing the ball too much. This is the referee has to get the ball in outdoor, and they're chasing, running all over on that open serve. I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, our crew over here are having way too much fun.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. We're in Vegas.
We are in Vegas. Well done, JP and Jay. Obviously, we're not entertaining enough. But Vargas Aguilar, he's going to be in the final, taking out Lavely and also the one seed Roland. So definitely earned his way to the final. It's going to be interesting to take on somebody who's kind of been there and done that in finals before in Paria.
Yeah, I think Andre, over the past 2 years, his game has excelled tremendously. He won a Tier 1 pro stop. He's been, he didn't play well at the beginning of this year. He had a very poor, 3 stops in a row. He didn't do well. He went to Mexican Nationals and didn't do well. But he's really kind of changed a lot.
Yeah.
And it's showing here. He's got his coach, his dad with him. I was actually
I'm not sure that's always a good thing.
No, it's good at sometimes, and then it's absolutely terrible at sometimes. I'm surprised. I can't say I'm surprised that Andre's in the finals here, but I'm surprised him and Jessica's not in the finals in mixed. And we kind of didn't talk about them in the mixed, but they went out early.
Yeah, and I think that was familiarization with outdoor racquetball to some extent. So that's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. It's Bolivia versus Mexico. Let's go to the women's to finish out, and this is the one I'm really excited about. Guess who? Ronda Rasic against Paula Longoria. How many times have we seen that happen over the course of history?
Yeah, I thought Carla would have taken out Ronda. I think Carla is just more athletic, but then, Ronda, every time you think she's out, she's
Ronda
right back in.
is so smart on a court, and she really uses all the angles in the court, and got a lot of aces and airs from Munoz, and really was, fairly comfortable, I felt, in that semifinal. One thing that Ronda said during the summer is that she was able to have an off season, and she's never had to have that. You finish the season, you end up going to, representing the U.S. in some tournament, and and you're back into the season. And so she was able to take a lot of time off during COVID, heal her body. She's had quite a few injuries, particularly in the knees, get better, and she looks very mobile now. And so I think she's hungry again, and I think tomorrow she wants to, it's her rival. And she often has Longoria's number, and now we're playing on my home, so to speak, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Again, you look at Paula Longoria being the best player in the world, you can't count her out.
No, not at all.
But Ronda has an amazing opportunity here in front of her.
Right. And probably in front of a home crowd, too. A lot of people will be cheering for Rasic, who's a legend
here.
Yeah.
They have her picture on the side wall over there. Come on.
Right. So that rounds it up. So we've got men's doubles and then the 2 singles, and then we round out with the women's doubles and mixed doubles. Let's just really briefly recap. It's been an amazing week, hasn't it?
I absolutely think it is absolutely amazing. You guys got to remember, these players are playing on a parking lot. These courts are built this week. They're 1/4-inch plywood. There's really nothing to them. The ball is kind of doesn't come off that well.
Right,
Like
very, very different bounces depending on where you hit it.
And every court's different. This is a parking lot that they painted a little bit. So, when was this parking lot constructed? Is there a pothole? I don't know. No, there wasn't any. But, it's windy. The elements come into play.
Heat.
I know that there's been times where we can't even breathe, and I'm drinking gallons of water, and I can't imagine being an athlete out there. So
hang in there, Dean. We're almost done.
Hats off to them.
Absolutely.
Every single one of them that went onto that court this weekend, hats off.
Yeah, it's been, and this is October. I can't imagine September.
No. That's one of the things I'm extremely excited about, that it's not September.
We'll be excited for next year maybe when it is in September. We hope that we're back to normal. One of the things I think we hear from a lot of people while there's been fans and players watching on, it doesn't have that crowd and intensity that has happened in previous years.
Yeah, usually there's 600 to 1,000 people watching, and and there's been chatter online. I'm sure you saw it prior to the event. Oh, we can't go. We can't watch. We can't this. We had 2 broadcasts. You got a lot of racquetball in there. So hats off to Mike Coulter and his team here, because what they had to go through just to put the event on, like, you got to give the guy a break.
Yeah, and we had inspectors here, and it was touch and go whether it would happen, and they worked really, really hard to get this up in a short amount of time once they got approval. So we really want to say thank you to all of them for putting this on. It's been such a fun event. It's not over, though. We've got tomorrow, so we're going to sign off and prepare, get some rest, Dean.
A lot of rest.
And tomorrow we got a lot of finals, so we hope you join us. And
well, let's tell them all the finals are going to be on the USA Racquetball Facebook page and the LPRT Facebook page.
And WAR, I think, as well.
Okay, so there you go. There's where you're going to find all the finals tomorrow.
Yep, and we'll also be on YouTube as well. So wherever you want to watch it, we've got all the options available for you. We're just going to go back to back to back to show you those finals. It's going to be a wonderful day of racquetball. Dean, thank you so much for joining me. It was fun, wasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to do this. We're going to do this more often when we have events together.
Yeah. And for those of you, lose my mic. I lost my mic. For those of you looking to put on tournaments, we really enjoy having the LPRT and IRT together in an event, and we're seeing some mixed pro, and everybody's kind of like, LPRT versus IRT and stuff. Off camera, we have a lot of fun.
No, and we have to, we're going to use the sudsy word. We're all racquetball, and we need to be that way. It's evident. Our players get along. They love playing mixed.
Yeah.
I put on an event in New York and had mixed doubles.
I remember.
And so as a tournament director, I absolutely loved it. So if you're out there and you want to have an IRT, LPRT event, just make it happen.
Yeah. Reach out to any of us, and we'll do our best. So on behalf of Dean Bear and myself, Tim Baggers, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow.